Shedeur Sanders makes his first start for the Browns tomorrow in the preseason opener against the Panthers. And what are the stakes for that? If he goes and performs well, how will that impact his race in the quarterback job? And if he goes and struggles, how will that impact him as well? Go ahead.
I don't think the stakes are extremely high. I think it's a great opportunity for him. I think it's a chance for him to see live action and actually get a start and get thrown into the fire a little bit. But I really don't think that he has enough time to overtake one of the veterans, especially Joe Flacco, for the start on week 1. He hasn't taken a snap yet with the first team offense. So I think that should tell people where this thing stands right now. They're bringing him along slowly and deliberately. He's making great progress and doing a nice job. But for people to think that, he can go from not having thrown one pass yet to Jerry Jeudy to starting a month from today against the Bengals and then going into Baltimore and doing the same, I really think that's a little bit of a long shot.
No, I 100% agree with you. And I think a lot of stuff really is impacted. I'm getting your perspective on it. They brought in Tyler Huntley. How does he fit into the quarterback race here? Is it just because they're battling injuries in preseason, or is he actual contender for the quarterback job in the future? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, he's not really a contender for the starting quarterback job. He is someone that they needed to come in here to be a camp arm, a camp body at quarterback because Kenny Pickett has a hamstring injury. Dylan Gabriel has a hamstring injury. And now they've got these practices coming up next week against the Philadelphia Eagles and the second preseason game against the Eagles. And I don't even know if Kenny or Dylan will be ready for that game or those practices either. As it stands right now, they might not be. So they needed someone else to come in here and really help fill in the blanks and go along with Joe Flacco and Shedeur Sanders.
Okay, so he's a camp quarterback. So that's an interesting note. And you mentioned you don't think Kenny Pickett or Dylan Gabriel will be healthy enough for the next preseason game potentially?
I'm not sure yet. I do know that when Kenny Pickett talked to us the last time, he said that he would have to manage the hamstring for a few weeks after he gets back into action. Well, he hasn't been back into 11 on 11s yet. So once he even does get back into 11s, he's going to have to still take it a little bit easy. That doesn't necessarily say to me, hey, go out and play against the Super Bowl champion Eagles next week. We'll see. I mean, maybe he'll have a really nice turnaround by then, but I don't think they also want to push it. It's a preseason game. I don't know if they would want to risk doing something like that. Now, he might get some 11 on 11s in practice, but just in terms of him playing in that game, I'm not necessarily feeling it right now.
That's an interesting note. And let's go to tomorrow with Shedeur Sanders actually playing. What are your expectations for Shedeur? I think he's going to take a lot of reps tomorrow. I don't know how much of the offense Tyler Huntley has learned. I know he was there in recent years, but grasping an offense again is tough. What are your expectations for Shedeur starting tomorrow?
Well, I think the expectations for Shedeur are that he'll go out there and he'll do a nice job. I think they're going to keep it fairly simple for him. I think they're going to do the same things with him that they've done in practice and call some plays that they feel that he can do well, some high percentage things. They're not going to try to get too fancy or too crazy. It's preseason. Nobody's game planning or anything like that. They're just going to put him out there with some of the guys that he's been throwing the ball to, and he's been making a lot of completions in practice. So as long as the Panthers don't throw too much at him, he should be able to function pretty well. And the issue with Shedeur to this point hasn't been throwing the ball. He can do that. Everybody knows that. It's really just kind of getting up to speed on getting the plays called in the huddle and sliding protections and calling motions and all the things that you have to do in the pre-snap process.
Definitely. And I mean, I think there's a big opportunity for sure to keep learning. One of my favorite things about the Browns quarterback competition is having Joe Flacco. I got a chance to cover Shedeur last season with Colorado, and I think one of the things he needed going to the NFL was a mentor, somebody who'd been there, done that, and understand a professional system. I think Joe Flacco will have paid dividends to Shedeur and the mentorship. I know Joe Flacco doesn't want to mentor Shedeur, and he's made that clear. But I think leadership by example is going to go a long way for Shedeur. Going back to the Browns quarterback room, you mentioned Tyler Huntley is more of a camp body. Now, will they roster 4 quarterbacks in the season? What is the realistic chance that they do that?
I think there is a realistic chance that they'll do that and that they'll keep these four guys, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, because those two veterans were going to be here, perhaps splitting some of the starting games in the early going. And then they want to develop those young guys. They've shown enough that they're worth more time, more investment, more resources. So I actually could see them keeping all four unless someone comes along, makes them an offer they can't refuse.
Okay. All right. So, and then Joe Flacco is the presumptive starter. Your expectations for Joe Flacco, if he goes and has, I mean, he just led the Browns to a playoff run not too long ago. I think there's a lot of potential for success. What are your expectations for Joe Flacco as the expected starter?
Well, I do think Joe will do a nice job. Now, I also think that the Browns would like to see Kenny Pickett get back in this race and really make a battle out of it. And they were kind of hoping, I think, in the beginning that Kenny would be able to nail down that starting job in the early going because they can use his mobility and run some design runs, some keepers and things like that, and get a little bit more creative with their offense. But because he has this hamstring injury right now, and especially for a mobile quarterback, it really tells me that Joe has the inside track right now. I don't know if he'll turn out that way right now. I just think he's got a leg up in the competition, and we'll have to see how that goes. But if he gets out there, he'll hit some explosive plays. He's heating up right now with Jerry Jeudy. He's got already a nice chemistry with some of the other guys on the team, and so I think he should be okay.
Okay, that makes me optimistic for Joe. We'll see if Kenny comes back from his hamstring injury. Mary, it's been an absolute honor having you on my show. My final question for you: you had the honor of receiving the Bill Nunn Memorial Award on Friday, and you made a funny joke. I know it was a joke about Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels. Now, I wanted to ask you on a serious note: what was your reaction of seeing Bill going from NFL to college and coaching, and what are your expectations for him coaching in this era of college football with the transfer portal, et cetera?
Well, Bill has a commitment to excellence in anything that he does. So he's going to be a great coach at the college level. He's going to nail everything. He'll be able to navigate the NIL and all of the things that he's going to have to do and the transfer portal. And whatever he chooses to do, he is successful at it. I covered him in his first head coaching stint. And although in my speech, I did talk about how, he gave all of us a hard time in the media back then. And I know it probably wasn't that easy, even when he was with the Patriots, to necessarily get things out of him or whatever. But he also did, some really good things just in terms of trying to do some relationship building. He let me and another, the play-by-play voice of the Cleveland Browns go in and watch some film with him on Mondays. That was an invaluable experience after games. He permitted me to get on the team's private jet with him and other members of the front office to go to a draft visit. And so, even though I talked about some of the rougher times of just trying to deal with getting information out of him, he did go the extra mile in many respects. And I've chronicled that over the years many, many, many times. I didn't have time to fit it all in the speech, but I didn't mean to leave the impression that it was all bad, because it wasn't.
No, I didn't get that impression. I thought it was just a funny joke. And getting that, a story and perspective is really cool, Mary Kay. I really can't thank you enough for joining. It's been an absolute honor getting your perspective on the Browns quarterback situation. Would love to have you back on again soon. And can't wait to see Shedeur tomorrow night starting for the Browns.
Sounds good. Enjoy it.
Thank you for joining, Mary Kay.